Good morning to a glorious day 360. I uploaded the video this morning, so it's a bit late, so you're probably going to be catching up on this one quite quickly after the other one. But anyway, this morning was very cool. It went then bloody hot, as you can see in the background. And now we have this monstrosity coming our way. My wife has just called me saying that 10 minutes down the road in Oystins, she just hit the most horrendous rain. It looks like it's coming this way, so hopefully it doesn't, because today we're meant to be doing the concrete in the pool, both on the infinity edge and the scratch coat within the pool, and also the guys, you might be able to hear the banging, the guys are outside in the garage now, scraping back, I suppose, some of the over pour that they've done on the inner edges that they've concreted. What they should have done when they boxed it was just brought in a little bit of 3/4 ply, so that when they unboxed it, you've now got enough gap to plaster. But again, one of the things they do here, they seem to box it, pour it, and then chip away at it and then plaster afterwards. So again, anyone doing any form of concrete work here, I would also strongly suggest that when they're boarding and boxing stuff, if it is if it's a 10 centimetre stroke 4 inch plaster edge, why don't they put an extra bit of ply on the inside, so when they unbox it, you've actually got that recess back, and then you can plaster nice and flush, but that doesn't happen. Anyway, so they're at the moment with chisels and drills and axes, and they're chipping into it, which I'll take you around and show you in a second. Yesterday's good news, as you've probably seen for the video already, is that we had town and planning out. Yay! Ramon, nice guy, came out and saw the property. All I've got to do today now is just show him the irrigation pump that we've had installed, and then he can get stuck into signing off and getting the wheels in motion on getting the building completely signed off and free. So I'm going to get that done and sent over in a minute. Obviously you saw the hedges we've lost at the front. We obviously put them in thinking that we were allowed to. I mean, the landscaper told us we could. I wasn't aware. But when planning came out, they did say that is like road reserve. I suppose it would normally be a pathway, and in the village or in the town, it would be where people would walk. So I understand it. So we've had to trim those right back and get rid. And then that's part of sign off. So the only two things he needed to do was see the irrigation. And I explained to him as well, it's meant to be 6,000 gallons. We've actually got 15,000 gallons. And also we're going fake turf and no plants, so we don't need any irrigation. So we still need to obviously put the pump in the irrigation tanks anyway. So it is what it is. Yeah, I've already sent him pictures of that. He said, thank you. All I've got to do today now is just send him pictures, obviously, the pump room. On the pool pump room itself, one thing I have done is I contacted Aurum yesterday about the louvered windows. Now everyone's saying go wood because we're near the sea, and I just don't like wood. So I've actually asked Aurum whether they do plastic or aluminium. He said he doesn't anodise aluminium. So I think they actually make them to suit. So I'm sure they're not going to be cheap. But I've asked him to quote me for 2 of those. And then what I want to try and do is put 4 downstairs in the basement. So I want 2 in the external double doors here, where the 2 double doors are just around about here. I want to put 2 in the door there to allow the air to come through into downstairs. And I also want to put 2 into the main door that leads from the main basement of the house into that storage area. So I want to try and get those 2 things done. Try and get the air coming from the north side of the house through towards the south side of the house. Now underneath the actual cottage there is 2 4-inch holes. There's one about here and there's one about here going right through the basement of that apartment. And what I want to try and do is put an inline pump, air pump, obviously pulling air through to the outside, but I also want to bring fresh air in. So I want to try and put 2 pumps in there. I say pumps, inline extractors. In England we do sort of quite big 4 to 5 inch extractors. You have to have it, obviously, anywhere that's a sealed space. I mean, in Barbados, you've got a lot of free air going through a lot of the houses, but this one, as I've said it in the previous couple of videos, it's sealed like England, which means you have to have breathing. So in England, due to gas, really, but as soon as you start cooking or changing the heat inside a house with a cold outside, then you get condensation, and that's when you start getting damp and all sorts. You won't get that here, but you do get, it's a very humid environment, so you have to make sure you're on top of that. So the basement's really about trying to get that airflow driving through the basement and keeping the air going at all times and keeping the heat away. That also helps cool the house down. And then what I want to do in the basement underneath the house, like I said in my video a couple of days ago, I want to put an extractor into one of the 4-inch holes on the front of the house, pulling cold air in. I want 2 of those, and I want them fed into the house. Then I want another one connected to the house coming down, pushing the air from the house out. So I'm not too sure if I should go with 2 and 2, 2 and 1, or 1 and 2. So i.e., do I have 2 pulling cold air in, fresh air in into the house and 1 out? Or do I go for 1 in and 2 out? Or do I go for 2 and 2? Let me know on that. If anyone has any recommendations on that, let me know. It's more of an English thing rather than a Bayesian thing. But yeah, if anyone can let me know. The extractors, I'm not too sure what they have here. I think, judging by everything else I've had to do, I'm probably going to have to import those in. But again, you then have the voltage issue. So I'm going to have to get some units from America. Because again, they have 110, so that's one of the biggest issues here. Anything you bring in from England is good, but unless it's dual power, you can't use it. Unless obviously I can get the electricians to run 240 down there. I definitely think they should be 240, thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, some things really need to be on 240 rather than 110. You know, hair dryers, there's no point in having a hair dryer on 110, they're just useless. Whereas on 240, they're good, they're powerful, they heat quick. So I think it'd be the same in the extractor. It really needs to be something punchy. So I think I'm probably better off asking the electrician to run some 220s down there and then rigging up some 240 units that imported in. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. So I don't think about that today. Yesterday I spoke to Koymans, and hopefully today we've got a roll of AstroTurf arriving, so we can test that. It works out around about 2,500 Bayesian for a 6 foot wide by 83 foot. So it's dearer in Koymans than it is in Carter's. But Koymans do 3 different depths, whereas Carter's only do 1. Neither of them will talk about a guarantee. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it's not going to go out there, look good for 3 months, and all of a sudden then melt or turn yellow or just lose its colour completely. So if anyone else on the island has had an experience in putting AstroTurf down, please send me some pictures or some information. It'd be good to see it. But it's not cheap, but I think it's going to be the best option long term. 1, because of obviously the amount of rain we get here. 2, because of the wildness in flowers and plants and weeds here that blow across, and just before you know it, you've got a lovely bit of grass, and now it's got weeds everywhere. I just think it's just going to be less aggro. So the downside, obviously, like I've said to you yesterday on the video, is we still have quite a mound of mud in the middle. We've got a highness, and we need to try and scrape that off. So I want to try and get the weed sheets down to prevent the weeds coming through. And then maybe next week I want to get the bobcat. We've got a big enough side return down the garage to be able to get a bobcat down, I think. So what we should be able to do is run the bobcat down the side, and we should be able to just scrape that back. I mean, it'd be an hour's work maximum. That's the only downside. We had the bobcat out this week, so if I'd known what I know now, I could have got that done. So hindsight and all that. Other than that, let me quickly show you the pool edge, because we obviously got onto that last night. We had a bit of a nightmare with the video, as you saw, so sorry about that. Every time I got an incoming call, it freezes the video, but then for some reason it just didn't start again. So yeah, I got a lot of me frozen, talking in the background, or nothing at all. So I couldn't finish off the video last night. But anyway, let me show you what we did last night. So as you can see here, we've got it all well created around. All of these little square holes as well, we've actually cut into the floor, and we've actually removed the rebar that was poking out. So the downside is, as you can see, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 there. So there's a gap here. There's going to be 1 there somewhere, but it doesn't poke out, and as a result we don't know where the hell it is. So really what we should be doing is cutting into it. I mean, look at these. Look, there's 2 right next to each other. They're not even 10 inches apart. And then you've got 1 which is about 14 inches apart. Then there's nothing at all. We tried to do a couple of grinds here to see if we can find anything. Nothing. So somewhere along here, there's rebars in here we can't find, and there's some rebar here. There's potentially going to be 1 in here somewhere, and there's potentially going to be 1 here which we couldn't find. There's potentially going to be 1 here. So the downside is we've got to hope that they're a little bit further down than the others. Otherwise, you know, this is going to have water going over it continuously. The good thing about that is that it protects it from the salt. The downside to that is this is going to be a salt pool. So it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference where the rebar is and how protected it is from a concrete point of view. We're actually going with a salt pool, because I'm a strong believer that if my kids are going to be in here all the time, I'd much rather them have something a bit more natural on them rather than the chlorine. So I've never installed or maintained a salt pool in my life. So fingers crossed it's not going to be a headache and it's not going to cause me long-term problems. Fingers crossed. So yeah, I'm still looking for a decent pool guy. I've got a guy that's coming this morning, fingers crossed, so it'll be good to meet him this morning and see what he thinks. My I don't know if I've said on the previous video, so forgive me if I repeat myself, but let me just show you. The thought process at the moment is to go with probably 4 rows of mosaic tiles here and another 4 around the side. So we're gonna plaster blue up to the 4 tiles here, and then we're gonna have another 4 tiles here, and then we've got a grey that we're gonna go from here to the side. That's the aim at the moment. So I think it will look okay. I don't think it'll look as good as it could do. And it might be worth us trying to do something here maybe. I don't know whether I mean, really we need a gutter in here anyway, because we need to make sure that the water that comes from the patio has got somewhere to go. So we've actually got the 4-inch pipe that's in the ground here, which I've told you before, and we do get quite a bit of water from the patio coming this way. As you can see, this staining here is where it's been polished, but it does tend to find its way here. So I might actually get the disc grinder and cut all the way along after I've plastered that flat. So I might actually get that, slightly at an angle. I might plaster that all the way along, and then once it's dried, cut all the way through into the actual drain so the water can actually flow into something. Now the downside to that is I don't have the height to put anything in to finish it. So in England we would have some form of stainless steel or aluminium nice looking grill, probably about 1 inch wide, with little tiny sort of 2 to 3 inch channels all the way along that the water would nicely go into. But again, I'm not too sure if you can get it here, or whether I can even get it in there, bear in mind it's already been laid. But anyway, I want to keep this one open, and whether I actually seal this one or not, obviously we can have the water going in, but I think the rules are you're meant to have the rainwater going into one drain and the pool water going into another. So my aim at the moment is probably to leave the drain that we had in here for the water for the pool, and have it so that the water actually just trickles to here, maybe to about here, and then the water runs off. So we'll try and keep the linear edge at the front low, so the water runs off and prevents it coming this way. Obviously, we have a lot of rain, then the pool will naturally fill up and it will come into here. So I'm not too sure how the pool handles that, how the pool equipment handles that. So I need to find out from somebody how. And then we can actually have this one just for the patio itself, coming into this drain itself. And then once we've done that, what we'll do is, when we've finished it, then we will stain this like we've done with the steps over there. So we'll actually have a nice finish here coming over to this part. So this will be grey. Mosaics, I'm probably looking for a greeny greeny turquoise colour, and then a nice grey to here. Finish this off and then stain this in a nice concrete grey. So I think this will be a lovely looking space once we've actually got this plastered and nearly finished. That's the aim anyway. So today, what the mason's also going to do, like I've said, he's going to put the first coat on here, he's going to put the first coat on this side, he's going to put the first coat around here, and he's going to put the first coat on the 2 openings of the garage, which I'll take you around and show you now. And he's going to go between those 5 items. He'll do stage 1 on the left side, stage 1 on the right side, and then he'll do stage 1 on the pool, both on those 3. That's hopefully what's going to happen. That's if those horrendous things over there unleash some water right over there and stay where they are. See, he turns up late and he's having breakfast. God. Yeah. Is that souse? Yeah. Jesus. Even eating souse on my turf. Can you believe that? Doesn't even bring these. Don't even bring me souse.
You want some souse?
No, it's all right. So what they've been doing here, look, obviously is creating a mess, because Bayesians love a bit of mess. Just scratching that back very slightly. So again, what I would have done with the boxing, I would have put a bit of ply in here. So this would have been here. So unboxing it means this would have been back by about 1/2 inch. Then you can plaster a really nice 1/2 inch here and across the front. But obviously now, loads of mist and dust as always. More work. Ugh, Jesus. So, and my linear gutters not covered up, which doesn't make any sense. So anyway, work to be done here, that's for sure. Okay, that's pretty much where we are here. Obviously, you saw yesterday we took our plants down, so that's a real shame. It does look a little bit bare now, but might be a good time to now start analysing whether we're going to change the garb wall colouring or not. Again, I still need things like this sorted out. Mel, my electrician, I need to have a chat with him about coming and just doing a bit of a walk around snagging list of little tiny things like this. I know this is for the gate opening and stuff, but surely we can get something put in there now. Start finishing some of these bits off. Obviously, I don't intend on working all day today if I can help it, but my wife has had some things on, so we can actually do some work today rather than not. I'll check in a little bit later on. It's only 20 to 10 now, so have a great day, and I'll check in with you at some point later. Thank you. Okay, we're at 20 to 1. Just returned back from my beautiful Coimans. My first visit since my return. Good to see some staff in there. Hello to everyone at Coimans. Right, so come back. We've got the first scratch coat onto the inner pool. Hopefully the weather holds off. And they've also got the first coats onto the garage. Actually, it's light, they're on the second coats. We've got the first coat on, just starting the second coat as we speak. Tyson hasn't turned up. Tyson, you're useless. 2 months off and you can't be reliable. If you're watching this, you're sacked. You're fired. Oh, it's been raining quite badly around the island, so he was in town today trying to get his gas and he said it was torrential, so we've been lucky, as always. Okay, so we have the first coat and the second coat going on. So the rods are on, we lasered the rods. Fingers crossed, once and for all we can get this right. So we start off by pulling the centre point. So we establish the centre point by literally measuring from the inner wall here, which doesn't always give the inside the same, but inner wall to inner wall, establish the centre point, and then we know it's got to be 182 inches. So we then obviously did the 91 one way and the 91 the other. And that then gives us the, it was slightly bigger that side than it was this side, so that should now be dead centre. Obviously you have to wait for it to draw, so we've got to try and let the mortar draw itself in so we can actually get it on and sealed. So anyway, that's the main aim for today. It's just mortaring, It's mortaring obviously the pool, first coats, garage, first coats, then going to seconds, then going to third and finals. Hopefully that will dry over the weekend, and then Monday we're in there with the white paint in here. And the swimming pool obviously is ready to start having the coats applied of blue. I'm not too sure. I need to do some research on the new product we bought to find out whether we can actually do that prior to any water. You know, what is the delay between it being finished and the water going in? Diamond Bright, you're actually meant to have it filled with water within like a 24 to 48 hour period. Because I'm not too sure it's the same with this stuff. Fingers crossed it's not, because if it's not, then we can certainly start getting that on there sooner this is ready. But I think you find we need, better off getting the water into the pool first. The water ready to go into the pool shortly after. Obviously, we finish doing the scratch coating on here. But anyway, one thing they are going to be doing obviously is getting a quote coat on top of here as well. So I think they're going to try and get that done soon. It looks like they're actually doing the first coat here, 2 coats on there. Should really be looking at the first on there as well. So let me pick their brains and find out what they're up to. Okay, 10 past 5. Disaster. We're getting on so well. I'm not naked or anything. I'm top off, covered in concrete. The rain came down. Soaked the burger buns, as they say. So all of the plaster we put on is now in the pool. Well, that's a lie. It wasn't in the pool, but it was so bad I just had to hose it all off. It's just awful. So a whole day's worth of work, whole day's worth of materials, all in the bin. As far as I'm aware, the front garage columns have managed to remain. I'm not too sure. I haven't been around there to check, but they're around there actually trying to finish them off. Bear in mind it is 10 past 5. This looked like sand, so we had no choice but to blast that out. And as you can see, there's just concrete everywhere. So we've managed to spade most of it out, but it needs a bloody good hose out. So I need to do that completely in here. I've just pumped all the water out. It's now sitting over there. And as you can see in here, here's not looking too pretty either. I've pumped it all out, but again, it's full of sand and concrete. So I'm going to give this a hose down now. We've got majority of the water and majority of it out. Obviously I'm going to hose it down, but obviously it's all very, very close to the main pipes that feed the actual swimming pool. So I'm pretty sure it can't go hard. I mean, it's so diluted now. It should be fine. So I'm going to hose all that down all along here, hose all this down as well. And potentially get this bit here hosed. But I wanted to obviously hose it all off and get back to the World Creek just so that we can actually start again as and when we got some weather we can rely on. But what a pain in the arse. It was literally third coat as well. Third coat on, and then just heavens opened up, and then it just watched it all just splatting on the floor. Still, it is what it is. So I don't think we're going to be doing anything else today, that's for sure. I may film a little bit later on the columns at the front if they've managed to survive. They're out there spending some time on it. They certainly don't like rectifying crap, that's for sure. So that's obviously been left down to me, otherwise it will go hard and then we'll have another set of issues to deal with. So anyway, another day over on planet Earth, thank bloody God. I'm going to think about the deputies, have a couple of steaks, have tomorrow off. Pool man didn't turn up today, so new pool man didn't turn up. So there's a niche on the island, by the way. If you want to set up a pool business, you should be really busy, especially if you're reliable. There you go, there's a little niche. Maybe that's what I'll do next. But anyway, I'm going to check out for now. Have a great weekend, and I will potentially be back on Monday. Take care.